Good day everyone and welcome to my first knife review. Today I'm gonna show you this knife. It's a Rexford knife if you haven't recognized, and it's the unnamed model. And I'll give you a little bit of background on Todd Rexford. So Todd Rexford is a very famous knife in tactical genre, and he's have a reputation for building a very good quality knife. His design are normally very clean, but this one is a little bit special. But if you look at the overall shape, it's still a very clean and a very simple knife by shape. But this one is what he called complex build. A complex build is basically something that he tried to explore that he haven't seen them do it before in this folding knife. So he's basically trying new ideas and stuff. So yeah, to top it off, he's like a very good guy, a very humble guy, very super easy to talk to. It's been a great joy talking to him. And yeah, he really loved this knife. So this piece is called the Unnamed model, and if you have been in Rexford knife, you might notice it's a little bit looks like his Gamma model, but actually it's not a Gamma model. I have talked to Todd about it, and yeah, it shares some similarities in the shape and everything, but actually the shape is not just like the Gamma, so there's been tweak and some change in design, and there are only two of them. This one is made in Damascus blade and stonewash titanium, while another one, this piece that you see right here, will be Damascus. This complex build, Todd usually only do auctions on it. Since his auction knife goes very high, Todd decided he should build something very special, and yeah, I guess it's just some good fun for him too, to make something that's out of ordinaries. Yeah, okay, let me change the setup a little bit and show you the specification of the knife. Maybe right, I just put it wide open and put it here at the edge of my book. So the knife is as you can see, titanium handles. This piece stonewash titanium piece. The bar and the pocket clip is hand wrapped satin titanium anodized in orange. Mokume pivot collar, I mean the pivot, and Mokume back spacer, and Mokume pocket clip stand up. The blade itself is I believe it's Chad Nichols. It's a skin Damascus, but I'm not sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. The size is around 3.5 inch, which is quite impressive for a show knife. Usually when you see this showpiece that recent makers put out, they're built on a very big knife, usually more than 4 inch or more, and those sizes are really like not very good to my hand, like it's too big. Yeah, I mean, I get it, a showpiece should be obvious and in your eyes, but when you get like something like this that's ergonomically perfect, I think I appreciate it. I mean, I prefer these over the big knife or showy knife. It just feels better in the hand also. So size of it is around 3.5 inch. Let me compare it to more common knife like the Delica. You can see it's just like not much bigger than Delica. The Delica is like around under 3 inch. So yeah, good small knife, or maybe common knife for knife collectors, the Emerson CQC6. Alright, let me put it this way. Butt to butt. And actually the knife is just a little bit longer than the 6, although the base size a lot more. No, not a lot, just a quarter of an inch more. But yeah, very good size knife overall. So this the way, and yeah, that's what you see. Now I'm gonna talk to the good part of this knife. This one, you can see that the construction of the knife is not like the normal frame lock knife at all. Start with the this bar right here, the insert. I mean the back bar. It's just like the backbone of the knife. If you look at it, it's not that thick, and it's actually it's fairly thin compared to the knife, and it's not cut straight. If you look at here, you can see it's at the angle. Okay, it would be more obvious if you look at from the back or from the front. There you go. And you see these overlays, they are overlays in at the angle, not straight. So yeah, to cut this piece out and all these overlays, there's just a lot of work going on around there. Okay, let me put this on just for the camera to focus a little bit more efficient. Sorry, this is my first video, but yeah, you can see that these angles is a lot of designs process, and I don't know how many tries and errors he tried, but I guess yeah, there's some wasted part that he tried to put on this thing while building this. To mount it at the angle and to keep the tolerance on the knife this close, this thing is just crazy. There's a lot of workmanship, a lot of thought going into this. And you see, like the piece that I cut here, you can see that it's just a separate piece that put over this, but it had to hold the stop pin, and it must be very perfectly with the pivot. Or even this piece that it had to go, that there is the standoff that have to go through it, and to put on everything together and still feel perfect. That's very hard to achieve. Yeah, and these all titanium pieces, they are all stone washed and contoured by hand, overlaid in an angles of them. Even these things, like you see the angles of the backbones bar here is all angle in the same direction and at the same angle all the way through. So let me show you a little bit how the screw is. There you can see the screws. The only visible screws for this piece is this one right here that have to hold through the backspacer. So I guess it's the only one that he needs to show this off, just for the rigidity of the knife. And what make this knife a complex build truly in it is in this lock side. When you see the knife, most people will look at the presentation side, and yeah, the presentation size looks perfect and stuff, but the complexity of this knife, that is a marvelous thing to me. lines on the locking side. If you look at the lock, it just looks like a normal frame lock, but actually it's not. You see the inserted lock bar right here. It looks just like an inserted lock bar, but if you can see the hint of the build on here. You can see that the finishing on this lock bar looks just a little bit different than other stonewashed titanium pieces. It looks a little bit orange. But that is because when he do the this backbone bar, I will just call it backbone bar, he has anodized it orange, and because this one is the one piece, like the same piece with this orange bar, he had to do it at the same time. And when you look at it closely inside, there, you can see that it's actually one connected piece. It's actually just one piece that cut out into so many different shapes, and that makes things going more and more crazy. And if you look at the connections, you can see that the connection of this lock bar to the whole frame, the connecting part is very thin. You can, looking at it closely, it's even thinner than the lock bar itself. And to tell you the basic of the knife, when you cut out the titanium piece must be cut out so that you can bend and make the lock bar. But with something like this, it's going very thin, and that make this knife self-destruct basically, because this thing is very thin. When you look at maybe a normal frame lock knife, you know that take this one for example, when the knife is open, there's force that transmit from the bed engagement through all the bar here. With this connection, there's no problem, you know, with the cutout and stuff. This still considerably very thick, and there's much more materials than that part of this particular knife. So especially being a flipper, which there's a lot of force going on while it's flipped and engages, Todd must find some way not to direct that force to this very thin connection, and it has to go elsewhere. And when you look at the knife, when it locks, actually the knife, the lock bar doesn't just move in to engage. The lock bar, when you use a lot of, and you lose it a lot of time, you can see that it gonna move up and down also, and that's gonna be a problem with this one, because if that happens, the position that we're gonna move next is the cutout, and I know it's actually a self-destruction for self-destruction button for this knife. So what Todd basically does is he invented a system which he called LGS, and that stands for lock bar glide system. It actually looks like what people may know as the lock bar stop bar, or maybe over travel stop bar, but in this knife it acts as that with a little bit more. When you look at a normal knife, what the stop bar actually does is it will stop the knife from the lock bar from over travel to the other side. So here, like this one, I can't bend it more, but if you look at this one, I can bend it a little more than that, but that's not very good, so I'm not going to do it so hard. So aside from this side, he wants to, if he wants to make this stay at the same place, he needs to make it doesn't bend into either towards the spine, outward the spine, and that's gonna be a problem on this one. I actually have the LGS draw out a little bit here for easier explanation, and it should sit something just like that. So with this shape right here, it doesn't engage with the blade at all, but it put the lock bar in place, because with all this piece, one thing that I haven't like truly understand about the physics of this knife yet, but I'm trying my best to explain to you what I understand about it, and yeah, piece together what Todd have told me. So with this shape inside the knife, it prevents the lock bar to go in, out, and with this curve, it just make the transition of the force just becomes smoother. So when you break the knife open, the action is great, and it kicks a little hard, by the way, and that's exactly why there's a problem in there. So when the knife flip open, instead of the force that are going through all the way through this part, it will be absorbed by this LGS system. The other part that will get a lot of force while it's flipped is around here. So the detent, Todd said there's a problem with the detent, that he can't use normal detent ball. And I'll just say this is my opinion on it. I haven't understand this perfectly yet, but my guess is that when the lock engage hard on this one, the force doesn't go to here, and all will be here and here. So the T10 ball, which when you see the ball, there's just a little surface like a bearing, and with only that much surface, it cannot hold in place when the force is that strong engaging in the lock. So what he basically does, he had to put on the D10 pin instead. So with the pin, there's a lot of more surface, so there's a lot more friction to hold this the D10 together with the knife and it's open, so this thing won't fall apart. And that basically the complexity of this knife that he tried here. But most importantly, this is not just about complexity, this is about like exploring the new ideas. And you see, it's not just the complexity of this knife that is like make this knife outstanding. The tolerance of this knife is also outstanding. Like with this level of tolerance, I mean, even my other knives doesn't have this cross tolerance, even with the more basic construction. So just show you the beauty of this again. The ergonomics is perfect. This would be a perfect carry knife, but unfortunately, because of these complexities, this series of complex knife, Todd only did about 10 of them as of this year, 2018. He just released 2 more with like pivot locking system. I'm not gonna talk about that much until like I got more details and he's ready to publish it. But that's just like opened a new world of folding knife making to me, because every lock system, detent and everything is just in the size a little bit bigger than this pivot. and that is something very revolutionary to me. So yep, hope you enjoy this knife as I do, and see you next time.